Hey YouTube, welcome to my shop. I'm Mike and this is Round 2 Woodworks, and I do appreciate you stopping by. If you've been watching some of my previous videos, you'll notice that I've been getting back into the fishing scene after all these years, which I'm really happy to be doing. I've always loved it, and it's one fun thing. On my float tube, it's a new thing to me, and when you start into something new, you kind of learn the ins and outs of it pretty quick. One of the outs of it is if there's a little wind or a current or something, you're over a nice fishing hole or whatever, it won't be long before you're blown way down, and that means kicking back up and kicking constantly to keep that position. I guess when you're 20 that's alright, but when you're 60 you don't want to kick as much. So I thought the only way out of that was an anchor. Now a friend of mine, Anthony, that kind of got me into the tube fishing, he loaned me an anchor. It almost looked like a weight, but it was 15 pounds. And when I pulled up 15 pounds, unfortunately I have bad hands, and when I squeeze and lift up like that, it can really set me off. So I was thinking, well geez, I'm not sure that'll work. So I went on Bass Pro and Cabela and I looked at their anchors. Now their anchor kits can be as much as 50 bucks. Now Cabela's had an anchor for it was 3 pounds and it was 19 bucks, or you could get 1.5 pounds for 14 bucks. Well, I think with my girth I probably needed the 3 pound, and the 3 pound isn't hard to bring up. So I decided to make an anchorage system on my own. My dad used to always tell me, why pay somebody to do something for you when you can do it yourself and probably have more fun and do a better job. So I've always kind of lived by that philosophy, so I'm going to live by it now. I went on Cabela's. They have a nice little anchor, as I said. 19 bucks. I went to Harbor Freight, got 50 foot of nylon rope for 6 bucks. 6 bucks, and then I have a 20% off of that. So, and in my backpacking I had a mesh net, which is perfect for an anchor. Let it dry out easy enough. I wasn't using this for backpacking, so now I've got a use for it. I've got an old broom handle that I've had for 20 years, and so now it's worth keeping because I'm going to use it for handles on the rope winding system. And then some wood for the sides of the rope winding system. I've got a couple of beaners, carabiners, for clipping onto the float tube. I've got 7/8, which is the same as this, to put a hole through this. I've got my paint ready to go, and I even got my coffee. So I think this is going to be a down and dirty, simple, dimple, easy peasy project. So let's get on it, see how it works, comes out, and then we'll see how it works. Let's get going. Alright, the first thing we have to do is cut the sides to the rope winder. Next, we have to cut the handles. 8 inches. cuts are done. Now we got to move on to putting the holes in it. I've never found a better way to collect dust than just turn on the vacuum and suck it up. The drill press throws it all over everywhere. Okay, next step is just round off the edges a little bit, make it a little smoother, and then round off the handles a little bit, and we'll go from there. Similar to that. That'll work. Just taking the rough ends off the edge for the handles. Okay, now what we got to do is just glue these in place. A little glue and let it dry a while, and then sand it up and paint it. So let's get on gluing this thing. There we go. Let's let this dry, and we're ready for the rope. All right, we are ready for the rope. What I'll do is I will just tie a bowline on this thing. Down dirty. You know how a bowline is. It's the rabbit goes up the hole, around the tree, and back down the hole. Pull it tight. Now I made this this winder. I made it 1 foot, so it's 2 foot for every time around. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Then when I let it out in the in the lake, I'll know approximately how deep I am. I mean, it's not a hummingbird or a Lowrance fish finder, but it'll let me know kind of how deep I am, how deep I need to go, or how shallow I need to go, or whatever. Not even fishing, and I got a bird's nest. Now we'll leave a little line so I can put it on the anchor. Okay, let's put the anchor on now. I'm not going to tie it to this end. I'm going to tie it to this end, and I'm going to use a plastic tie up here. And why I'm going to do that is that if for some reason you get caught on a boulder or a log or something and you can't pull it up, it can get stuck. Well, if you have a plastic tie here, you can pull real hard, break the plastic tie, and then pull it up with the rope. And that might save you an anchor and a rope. That's why I'm using the plastic tie. So let me tie this puppy up. Okay, here's how it hooks up. You want to let it down 2 foot, 3 foot, 4 foot, and then just wind it back up. Simple dimple, easy peasy, down and dirty. Can't get worse, easier than this. So let me show you how it connects to the float tube. Okay, YouTube, let's say we're out on the lake, we find that perfect fishing hole or structure down below or whatever where the fish are hanging around, and you want to keep yourself right above it or right around it. Just reach in, grab your anchor system. Okay, open your anchor up. Drop it, that's 2 foot, 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot. Let's say you hit bottom, take another one out. Just take a regular loop, tie a loop in it, like that. Take your carabiner, and just clip it on the D-ring right here. Now you're set. Then you can just take this and put it up front in the bow out of the way. Now if you run out of line, I also put a hook here that you can beaner this to it. So I guess that does it for this little project. Simple, dimple, easy peasy, and down and dirty. But I think it'll work. So if you have a float tube, you might want to try it. I've got $6 in rope and $19 in an anchor. and everything else was kind of round. So you might want to look at it. You don't need a compound miter saw or a drill press or electric sanders to do this, by no means. I used them because I have them, and that's what I bought them for, to use them. So if you're into float tubes, you might want to give this little system a try. I think it's going to work out good. If it doesn't, I will let you know. So anyway, YouTube, I certainly appreciate you stopping by like always, and I want to thank you very much, and I want to wish you well, and until next time, take care of yourselves. See you then.